Hello everyone, this is Udita and I will be presenting today at Essence of Thought. For those of you who do not know me, I had taken an interest previously in Peter's work and have been training under him to be able to contribute to this channel. I have been a blogger before, which sadly I had to put on hold due to travel and education. This is the first time I'm on YouTube and I'm currently recovering from a cold, so please forgive me for not being at my very best. I would be open to suggestion in that regard. So, today I will be countering a post I came across on Facebook a few weeks back. I had been planning to do this for quite some time but was unable to since I moved back to India recently. This is a page called The Ideal Vedic Marriage, run by some followers of the International Society of Krishna Consciousness, better known as ISKCON or the Hare Krishna movement. I'm sure most of you have heard of it. For those of you who haven't, it is a Hindu movement and an organization started by Swami Prabhupada in 1966. ISKCON mainly concentrates on the worship of Lord Krishna and follows ideologies derived from various scriptures of Hinduism such as the Vedas, the Bhagavad Gita, the Upanishads, etc. And like any other religious propagandist movement, ISKCON too has its fair share of criticisms. What I will be responding to is the original post made by Ideal Vedic Marriage in the first part, or the first half rather, and in the second half, the response I personally received after having counted them on the initial post itself. As indicated by the name of the page, this post is about marriage and women's role in it. So, here it goes.
When she is misguided, she becomes dangerous. There is no question of love. But one thing, according to Vedic conception life, that women and children are on the same level, so they should be given protection by men. In childhood, the protection is from the father. In youthhood, the protection is from the husband. And in old age, the protection is from the grown-up sons. So they should never be given independence.
That is ironical coming from a bunch of people who go gaga over a deity who is all about love and women. Heck, Krishna is even depicted with Radha, his consort, most of the times, who, according to most versions of their story and according to Swami Prabhupada himself, was somebody else's wife. This is an outrageous thing, considering the times they were living in. And what do you mean by dangerous?
I don't know. Makes me sound a bit dangerous, doesn't it?
Well, by Vedic conception life, I suppose you are talking about Vedic conception of life. I request you to go ahead and quote a hymn from one of the 4 Vedas which actually says that women are on the same level as children. In fact, my research shows this. The Rig Veda chapter 10, hymn 125, which alludes to God talking about their manifestation as a woman in the household, says, I am the queen, the gatherer up of treasures, most thoughtful, first of those who merit worship. Thus gods have established me in many places with many homes to enter and abide in. Through me alone all eat the food that feeds them. Each man who sees, breathes, hears the word outspoken, they know it not, but yet they dwell beside me. Hear, one and all, the truth as I declare it. The Rig Veda also specifically states in chapter 10, over thy husband's father and thy husband's mother bear full sway. Over the sister of thy lord, over his brothers, rule supreme. That sounds like exercising quite an amount of power, considering someone who should be on the same level as a child. Nor do the Vedas say much about denying independence to women. If my research is correct, several hymns of the Rig Veda were actually revealed by women saints such as Ramasha, Apala, as well as by supposed female deities such as Indrani, wife of Lord Indra. The Rig Veda, the Atharva Veda, as well as the Yajur Veda, emphasizes the need for women to be self-sufficient through education and to broaden their horizons. I don't know about you, but that is considerable independence given in the time we know the Vedas were constructed in. Any restraints beyond that would have been placed on both women and men to serve their community. Well, I will do you a favor. I will let you know where I have come across this notion of constant male protection. This is in fact in Manusmriti in chapter 5, which says, "In childhood, a female must be subject to her father, in youth to her husband, when her lord is dead to her sons. A woman must never be independent." That sounds exactly like what you were saying. So why would you call that a Vedic concept of life? Now, if I know my history books and theology correctly, the Vedas were the first known scriptures of the religion we know today as Hinduism, meaning the Vedas laid the foundation for all later works, such as Manusmriti, Vedantas, Upanishads. I really detested when religious leaders such as Prabhupada distort Vedic discourses based on interpretations. And I'm not even going to say that the Vedic concept of life is really perfect. Don't get me wrong. There are plenty of verses and hymns in the Vedas which would be misogynistic by today's standards. One of the most disappointing examples would be chapter 6 of Yajurveda, which tells the story of heaven being revealed to men and how women were undeserving of it, concluding that women are powerless, have no inheritance, and speak more humbly than even a bad man.
They should be given protection, and their natural love for father or for husband or for children, then that propensity will grow very smoothly, and that will establish the relationship with woman and man very happy, and both of them will be able to execute their real function, spiritual life, by cooperation.
True. Cooperation is necessary. But what protection are you talking about? Is it from acts of nature, such as calamities or disaster? If you are, I ask you to prove that women as a gender-specific community cannot survive such events. I should warn you that history, current affairs, as well as anthropological studies would defeat you there. However, I'm assuming that you're not, since this is in the context of marriage. If women and children are indeed on the same level, it means the only kind of willful harm that could come to women is from men. And according to your implication, that would mean to anyone who is not an imbecile that the problem lies with men. And that is the side of the society we need to redress. You do see the problem here, right? In one stroke, you have managed to not just seriously undermine the mental prowess of women, but have also painted men in the light of uncontrollable wild beasts waiting to jump on us. And I'm not even going into non-binary identities.
The woman is known as his better half, so if she looks after the comfort of the man, a man is working and he is looking after the comfort, then both will be satisfied and their spiritual life will progress. Woman is meant for certain duties. Man is meant for hard working. and woman is meant for homely comfort, love. So both of them, if they are situated in their respective duties under proper training, then this combination of man and woman will help both of them to make progress in spiritual life.
Right. Good luck saying that to women working in construction, garbage collection, scientific and technological projects, in medicine and surgeries, and in other industrial factories. Even without bringing the wage gap and the discouragement of women to pursue certain careers, we still have enough to prove you wrong. Go say that to women who have successfully been good monarchs and politicians in the past. Homely comfort and love is for everyone, men, women, and others. To imply otherwise is pretty dehumanizing and sexist in itself. It is for every individual first, and then their people in their very personal spheres to decide what roles should they pursue in life. You don't get to decide that in the name of a being who doesn't even exist. Since the narrator is so insistent that women are on the same level as children, I established that by that logic no willful harm can come to women from other women, but just from men. I replied as much. Protection? From the problems that are mostly perpetuated by men? What kind of misogynistic piece is this? Woman is equal to a child? So all men who are not gay are pedo? How is this not insulting to men either?
Dear Udita Zara Chakrabarti, please let me clarify something for you. The reason for why women are characterized as that similar to a child is because they are easily led. This is a fact even according to the statistics of who follows who in relationships. It does not mean that women are children, so please consider this. If women are easily led by men, then why not give them all protections as you would a child? This means simply taking care of her through all stages of her life.
Statistics? Oh wow. Please provide the evidence so we can critically look into it. After all, statistics themselves are not always above limitations, are they? Anyway, congratulations. Women are not children, which thankfully means men are not pedophile. But hang on, women are easily led? Okay, that leads us back to the issue of inferior mental capabilities of women. So men know that women are incapable of forming a proper judgment just like children are, and still choose to initiate sexual relations with them, and by that I am including marriage. Do you know why pedophilia is a problem? Do you know why bestiality is a problem? Because there is no consensus ad idem, meaning there is no agreement about the same thing in the same sense. In that context, have you heard of the term rape? Let's see how rape is defined in laws across various countries. The Department of Law in the United States of America describes rape as sex without consent of the victim. It further adds in its explanation, the carnal knowledge of a person without the consent of the victim, including instances where the victim is incapable of giving consent because of his or her age or because of his or her temporary or permanent mental or physical incapacity. I would think that due to reasons of age, a child is in a temporary state of mental incapacity to give consent. Otherwise, there would be no reason to prohibit a child from entering into a contract freely. I love what the Sexual Offences Act in the United Kingdom have to say. It describes rape as sex without consent of a person as well. And in section 74 of the Act, it also says, for the purposes of this part, a person consents if he agrees by choice and has the freedom and capacity to make that choice. Freedom and capacity to make that choice. Something you have denied women when you started this post. Yeah, but why the first world? Let's get back to India, which constitutes the most number of Hindus in the world. The Indian Penal Code clearly emphasizes the lack of consent in rape. It differentiates between sex against a woman's will as well as without consent. Both lead to rape, but absence of consent does not always need to be against someone's will. Nepal, whose Muluki Ain is a derivative of the Hindu Code of Criminal Laws, also describes rape as sex without one's consent. And it also mentions that such consent cannot come from an atmosphere of undue influence. Marriage to someone who is incapable of forming a proper opinion as that of an adult is a case of undue influence of one over the other. Well done! You have just claimed that men are not pedophile, they are born rapists. There is no way you're coming out of this looking good, is there?
For example, the female child should be taken care of by her father until she is old enough to marry. Then, when she marries, she should be taken care of by her husband. And if children are produced through marriage and a son is born, then when the woman reaches her older age, she should be taken care of by her son. Why is this wrong to you?
Because you made it your business to dictate women and men from a perspective that takes away their basic human right to self-determination without any justification whatsoever. There is nothing wrong with taking care of one's family. It is as much as my duty to protect my family as much as it is theirs to protect me. That is the egalitarian approach towards mutual love and care that should be promoted, and that is where the line should be drawn. What entails in that love and care is for us to decide, since only we know best what makes us happy, as long as we are not breaching someone else's personal boundary. That is self-determination. What gave you the right to carve out a role for me on the basis of my genitalia?
Unfortunately, into today's day and age, many children are left by their fathers. Therefore, when the child reaches an age of independence, they seek out the company of undesirable men, generally older in age, to fulfill the void that is missing due to not being raised by her father. Then unwanted pregnancy happens, or wanted pregnancy. But because both wife and husband are not educated according to moral standard, divorce yet again takes place. Then the woman who was abandoned by her father then is abandoned by her husband, left to fend for children on her own, and then generally as soon as the mother becomes old, she becomes a burden and is placed in old persons' homes.
You have it all figured out, haven't you? Can you please show us some statistical surveys indicating this general trend that you so want to proclaim? What about children abandoned by mothers? Why are they not included in your example? What about children who lose one parent or both to acts of nature such as death? What about well-rounded children who have grown up to be good human beings despite being raised by single parents? What are they? An anomaly? For your information, divorce takes place when a couple decides they're not compatible with each other after a marriage. Yes, it is avoidable, but human beings are given to err. Nor does it necessarily lead to an unhealthy situation for women or children. Staying in an abusive settlement or in an unhappy situation is always worse So many parents still stay in touch after divorce to provide support for their children. It has nothing to do with pregnancy whatsoever. A marriage not meant to last due to incompatibility will not last, no matter what they do. Your so-called spiritual guidance is of little help here. Also, in the West, many prefer to go to old homes or care homes because simply they need to be attended to 24/7 by people who have specialized training to that extent. I know the situation in India is a bit different, but even there are so many people who prefer old homes simply because they can bond with others in the community who have the same experiences as them. Setting aside a woman as defenseless and as a burden because of her gender is hypocritical to say the least. You brought us up to believe we cannot defend ourselves. Your protection means nothing when it comes after a series of oppressive measures in devaluing womanhood in the first place. And let's not even get into the amount of harmful notion it injects into the male social narrative. Please stop the stigmatizing of divorce or separation or old age when there are so many instances of otherwise healthy families, okay?
So this does not mean that all men are gay or that they are paedophiles. I really do not know how you would even come to this conclusion based on the original thread I posted here, nor is it insulting to men. I am simply stating the facts. I am sorry if this offends you, but I am speaking the truth. Hare Krishna.
It is really offensive to any sane human being. And who said all men are gay? I said all men who are not gay would be pedophiles according to you. Of course, I would have mentioned lesbians, but since that involves two women, the point is moot.